Welcome back, Rankers. Big week in Australia this week. We had Australia Day and we had a public holiday yesterday. And also, the hard drive on my MacBook Pro died. So I'm doing it from someone else's machine this morning, the show that is, and hope to have my MacBook Pro back in the next day or so. I just wanted to cover a few things this week, which we've seen coming up more and more often. One of the things that we're doing now, more so than what we used to do before, was regularly check the index because, and when I say regularly check the index, I mean regularly check what Google knows about your site. It's something we've always done, but now what seems to be happening, Google is less tolerant of noise, what we call noise, that may be coming from your site. And to give you an idea of this, the way to find out what Google knows about your site is simply to type in site, and your web address. And don't type in the words your web address, as some people complain when they say this doesn't work when I type in your web address. But basically, it tells you how many pages Google knows about your site. Now, there it says 941 pages for Stuart Media. Now, I know for a fact that's too many pages. And that, probably 8 months ago, when I last did this on the show, it was about 800 pages. So 141 pages in 8 months, no, we haven't added that many pages in 8 months. So that means there's something happening on our site. It'll be a component. It might be a search engine friendly component. We run a Joomla site. And what's probably happening is duplicate pieces of content are being created. And that can be through email links on a page about a story because it contains a different version of that particular piece of content as an email or as a PDF or as a print-friendly version. But when you see this happen, you've got to make sure that the pages that Google says it knows about your site, that's how many pages that you have. With ours, because it's 800 pages and there might be, 50 pages in there that might be duplicates or a bit of noise, it's a small percentage of our site. But if our site was only 100 pages and 50 of the pages were duplicates, then that would represent a large ball of noise to Google in that it doesn't know what to rank, there's too much of the same content, and it doesn't want to send its users to sites that might be confusing or noisy. So regularly check that, and in some instances, the sorts of things we find are a developer, a well-meaning developer, may have staged content on a live server. Not a good idea because the Google bot can find it. We're also finding that the Google bot is ignoring robots.txt. So if you, not all the time, but certainly recently, and we've got cases of that. So if you're staging stuff on your live server and even though you have it banned in robots.txt from Google, you may find that the bot still goes in there and finds content you don't want it to find. So be aware of that. Also, strange things can happen, like we worked on a census site a few years back, and one of the things that was happening with their site is the Google bot was going into the search query area of the site and generating empty page after empty page. And so about 50% of the pages on that census site were actually duplicates or just empty pages. So if you're going to do SEO, I would start at that point. Find out first what Google knows about your site. If, however, you've got 1,000 pages and Google's only seeing 10 of them, then you've got another problem. And that is that Google doesn't know how to find the rest of your content. Just following up a couple of weeks ago from our story about Google Gmail alerts and how they were showing really useless information. Here's one that I got this morning for the keyword Gym Boot, and it's telling me of a particular video that I might be interested in that carries the word Gym Boot, and of course it's this video here that I did back in 2008, June, hot off the press. Thank you Google for that Google News alert. So the Google News alerts still aren't working well, but we have seen less bouncing around in the search engine results pages for our client sites over the last 2 weeks. It seems to be starting to settle down. It hasn't quite settled down yet, but it seems to be less volatile, the index anyway, in search results than what they were a few weeks ago. And just quickly, it reminds me too, if you all of a sudden see your site shoot to #1, but nobody else sees it shoot to #1, it probably means you've got personalized search switched on, or Google switched on personalized search for you, or perhaps you're logged into your Gmail account or something like that. And finally today, just a quick one. Stephen Conroy, Google Stephen Conroy. We know that the stephen-conroy.com site is number 2 and 3. Just did a quick look at the site this morning, and I don't think it'll be too long before he gets to this site gets to #1 for the phrase Stephen Conroy. But one of the things that this site could do, and think about this as for your own keyword use as well across your own site, is that there's no link off this front page here that actually has the word Stephen Conroy in it. So what you can do is that if you're trying to rank for a particular phrase, it's a good idea to have a link off the front page with your keyword in it that goes deeper into the site, that tells people more about that subject. In this particular instance, what I would probably do is, because there's a lot of forums behind this site, is I would have a link off the front page, probably somewhere up the top, maybe even in this first sentence, maybe link that Stephen Conroy there, to say an index page or a category page or a section page that lists different articles or different forum posts that mention Stephen Conroy. Then that allows Google to see that this site is an authority site for the phrase Stephen Conroy. Hopefully that's helpful. The show may have been a bit late today because I'm working on someone else's machine trying to get it live. So bear with me. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week. Bye.